I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body.
Rub my body on your body.
Let me rub my body.
Your body.
I'm in the mood. I'm feeling rude. I'm feeling hot. I want to rock. The feeling exciting. So darling, let's do something. I wanna rub my body on your body.
My body on your body.
Let me rub my body on your body.
I wanna rub my body on your body.
I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body.
Rub my body on your body.
Let me rub my body.
Your body.
I just get paid. I want to play. The vibes is right. I wanna hook up tight. No time to waste. I wanna work my waist. So come on, babes. Give me a taste. I wanna rub my body on your body.
I wanna rub my body on your body.
Let me rub my body on your body.
So, this is attorney Shellon, Washington, owner and founder of the Washington law firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-87. So, this is attorney Shellon, Washington, owner and founder of the Washington law firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Kellyan Mall, 162 Lamaha Street in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins firm,
All right. Hey, guess what? Good evening. It's 7 minutes after 9 o'clock. My name is Mark Benchop. Let's get straight down into business. Appreciate that you guys are on with us this evening, and we trust that you'll share the link. And we only say it once, share the link. That's it. Village Voice newspaper. That's the villagevoice.com. Don't forget to get on the Village Voice. Ensure that you're there. You find out what's happening in Guyana and around the world. The Village Voice. Share it with your friends. Share the link with your friends. Share the news stories with your friends. All right, do them that good favor. Share them good news, quality news. I see some of you guys are sharing garbage. Please do not share garbage. You know the propaganda news website. Do not share those garbage, please. Don't send garbage to me because I'm just not going to bother with it. All right, do share the link. We have attorney at law. Our first round is with the attorney at law, Shellon Washington. I have some brief questions for her. We'll get straight to the point, and after that, we'll get into Red Fox. And for some of you who may not know Red Fox, I don't know how come you guys don't know Red Fox, but do a quick go on YouTube, listen to some of his tunes. Those of you who are from the old school days, you'll remember pose off and all these different things, right? Okay, I got to be careful this evening. We have our attorney on with us. She's also a pastor. I don't want to be singing pose off and all sort of different things, but the tune goes something like this.
Girls, you look so sharp anytime you pass in the Pom Pom shop. It's true.
What's the girl's crazy about? Tell her again.
Girl, you touch my heart anytime you pass in your Pom.
All right, then. Good luck. Guess Red Fox is going to be with us in just about 10 minutes or so, or maybe a few minutes over that. But we have we have our attorney with us this evening, and she is, of course, paving the way for Red Fox. I'm sure you heard of Red Fox. Come on. The song.
I've heard the music.
You have heard the music. I'm not going to ask you to give us a line or anything. I wouldn't do that. I dare not wouldn't do that at all. And even if I ask, I know you wouldn't even sing it. So, but good music, good music. I remember those songs back in the days. It brings good memories back. But hey, attorney at law, Shellon Washington, good to see you. How have you been?
Hi, good night, Mark. I've been great. It's good to see you. Good to be here again on your show. It's always a pleasure. Good night to all your listeners out there, all of your fans. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Let's get straight down into business. You heard of this story, attorney detained by SOCU to sue for false imprisonment. Before we get into all of the lawsuits and so forth, we wish that attorney all the best. But here it is, according to the information we've received, that attorney was there at SOCU to represent a client, her client. The police, according to what we've been hearing, the police were about to have her client sign a statement. She intervened and said to her client, no, don't do anything, don't speak, don't sign. The police apparently got upset, according to the reports, mind you, and they decided to detain the attorney. Let us quickly, it is not a good development at all. It is not a good story, assuming that all of what we've been hearing thus far is the correct version. What is your take from an attorney standpoint?
Yes, Mike, I've heard the story. I've seen the interview, and from what I understand, is she was just performing her job as a professional, as an attorney. I understand that she took her client in before, and she was told to return back with her client. But she was warned the first time when she was there that if she tried to prevent her client from making a statement, that she would be detained. And as I understand, she went back a little bit late on the second time that she visited the station, but the officer who was in charge, or the officer who was dealing with the matter, was unavailable. And she said as she got there, a statement was being read to her client, and her client was being asked to sign that statement. She advised her client not to sign, and the client did indicate that he did not. He refused to sign it. And because of her advice to her client, she was detained because of that. And she was told she was interfering, I believe, with an investigation. My take on this, Mark, One things I saw, which I do not agree with, the Bar Association did issue a statement, and they referenced the rule of law. As I know, in Guyana, we don't have any such thing as the rule of law. We do have it here in the United States, and we often reference the rule of law in this country. And all the rule of law is, for those of you who are watching and you're wondering, you're hearing the term rule of law, and it's being referenced. We know specifically it's referenced here in this country. It's part of the Constitution. The rule of law is a principle, as we know it, under which persons, institutions, entities, they're all entitled and they're accountable to the law, that are publicly promulgated, equally enforced, independently adjudicated. The independent adjudication is the court system, and it has to be consistent with international human rights principles. And these are things that, as we know it, are something that is actively effective in this country. Hence, no one is above the law in the United States. But as it relates to Guyana, we don't have any such thing as the rule of law. We might have it in the common law, but it's nowhere in the Constitution. It's nowhere written in any of our legal texts. And as we know also, in Guyana, there is nothing. You could go and you could look at your Constitution yourself. And this is something that you should always do. You should fact check people. Guyanese need to learn to fact check people. In the United States, what criminal has is a constitution. Well, not just criminal, but any person who's charged, you have a right to remain silent, and we have the Miranda rights. Your Miranda rights are read to you if you are arrested in the United States. As we know, I do not know if we have Miranda rights in Guyana.
But they're supposed to have that.
They're supposed to. It's part of human
but
rights.
not necessarily the Miranda warning, which is, and for some folks who may not know, assuming, because we have a lot of bright folks here, the Miranda warning is basically once you're detained or arrested by the police in the United States, by law, they have to read you your Miranda rights, which is you have the right to remain silent, you have the right for an attorney, or whatever else. In Guyana, it's the same.
Well, I'm not too sure that
but not necessarily the Miranda. The police are obligated by law to say to someone who has been detained that, look, you have that right not to say anything. You also have that right for a lawyer. You also have that right for a phone call. By law, they are supposed to issue that warning to anybody.
What I'm getting to, Mark, is not a protected rights in our Constitution. That's what I'm getting to.
Gotcha.
Based on our Constitution, when something is being investigated at the at the stage where they're just seeking information, they're trying to make sure that maybe you weren't involved, and they're asking you questions. You do have a right not to answer those questions, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a protected right. It's a common law. Let's make this very clear. It's not a protected right. So based on the Constitution, and I'm going to just go through this really quickly for your viewers so that they'll be familiar with it also if sometime in the future they need to reference this. This is, I think it's under section 144(7). It says no person who is tried for a criminal offense shall be compelled to give evidence at the trial. And that's the extent of their protection under the Constitution in Guyana. And it only relates to a trial. It doesn't cover you when you're being investigated, but you do have a common law right. And at the stage where the police are trying to investigate and they're trying to question Ms. Clark's client, Ms. Clark has a right to carry out her profession as an officer of the court. Now, she is an officer of the court. The police officer is an officer of the law. And so, when they're investigated, if Ms. Clark advises her client not to say anything, the police would be wrong to interfere with Ms. Clark's function as an attorney, as an officer of the court. In addition to that, for the police to interfere and to tell Ms. Clark how to do her job as an attorney, that's an abuse of power. They're stepping outside of their boundaries, but there's no rule of law that they're interfering with at that point. We know the rule of law just states that, the body of law that is being, promulgated to the public at large, it has to be administered equally. And the courts is who enforce those laws if it's infringed. So the rule of law has nothing to do with this, like the Bar Association is really saying or putting
All
down.
right. We
The
just
rule
want
of law is
to.
going to come into place when Ms. Clark files her lawsuit against Soku for violating her rights as an attorney to practice as an officer of the court. They have no rights. They have no business interfering with her performing her functions as an attorney at law. And that's where the checks and balances need to be put in place. Checks and balances has to be put in place, because if she is not able as an attorney, and this is a message, a clear message should go to all the attorneys in Guyana, everyone in Guyana should be concerned that the police, that Soku is interfering with the rights of an attorney to practice her profession. She is an officer of the court. They need to respect that and to stay in their lane. They're overstepping their boundaries. They're abusing their powers to tell her the way she is supposed to perform her functions as an attorney, and that she cannot tell her client to remain silent. Whatever Ms. Clark says to her client, that's her attorney-client relationship. And in order for her to effectively perform that function and to adequately represent her client, she has to be given enough of that leverage to speak to her client. And her client has to be able to, if he wants to listen to his attorney, if he wants to comply with what his attorney is asking him to do, he should be able to do such without the interference of Soku. Soku is wrong. They are wrong for not detaining, not incarcerated, but detaining, because as I understand, she was detained for a very limited time. But either way, they had no right to detain that attorney or interfere with her performance or her function as an attorney.
Well said, Attorney at Law Shellon Washington here with us, giving us a quick run through as to the attorney in Guyana who was detained by SOCU. And for some of those folks who don't know what SOCU is, it's the Special Organized Crime Unit that deal with matters of corruption and so forth. They should have been dealing a lot of these things with Irfan Ali, Jack Deo, and a whole bunch of them. But we see what they're doing. They're picking on these individuals. And I have said on one of my posts on Facebook that I suspect that had this not been the attorney, the ethnicity of the attorney, then that individual, that police officer who has a history of that, goes back to what he did with Paul Slow, former Assistant Commissioner of Police Paul Slow, when he arrested Paul Slow and what he did to Paul Slow at the courthouse. This is the very controversial police officer. He doesn't know his job. He doesn't know the law. He doesn't understand it. And I hope that the police force will feel the consequences all the way in their pockets, deep pockets indeed. Forget about the Guyana Bar Association. It's not a legal entity. It's not legitimate. It's just basically an entity where they sit down and they drink a couple of glass of beer, rum, whatever. That's all they do. It is not a legal entity. Am I correct, Ms. Washington?
As far as I know, Mark, I don't think they have any proper formation in terms of how they're organized. It's just a name. I don't believe it's a corporation. I think it's just a name they give to a body of attorneys who agree to come together and do certain things, and they call themselves Guyana Bar Association.
And it seems as though the lawyers there just chit chat. They play a lot of politics. They're more prone to pro PPP side issues and all these different things. A matter of questionable press releases coming out of them.
I agree, Mark, because I did read the press release in the Stabrook News, and even the section of the Constitution that they use, it doesn't even cover this situation. It's an abuse of power, and this is why we need checks and balances to be put in place to stop the abuse of power. And it just doesn't come from there. It comes from a higher up. That Absolutely. Authority, that privilege that they have there, that they're abusing their powers, it's coming from instructions that they're getting.
Absolutely. I'm just going to be a bit facetious. Maybe when I'm back in Guyana, I will ask them, since I've had 5 years of law school at Camp Street Law School, that I'll ask them whether it's okay for me to join that legal entity. You never know. But
Just
yeah,
just
Miss
one
Washington.
more thing, Mark,
Sure,
which
go ahead.
I've been
Yeah.
saying from the jump since I've been coming on this program is that the police are not properly trained in the law. So a lot of times they're not even familiar with what they're supposed to do. And they were saying Miss Clark were interfering with their ability to conduct an investigation. And that's not true. She's not interfering. She's just, like I said, she's just performing her job as an officer of the court.
You know
They're
what? You know
officers
what
of the
though?
law, but she's an officer of the court. So
You know
she
what though, Miss
has to
Washington?
perform her functions.
This is not the first officer I've seen this happen to. You know, I've been there in around Guyana, always out of the police station, in the courts all over, even on the streets protesting. And so I've seen people's rights violated. Not only people, but attorneys being yelled at by cops and being told by cops that they can't sit around their clients. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Unacceptable. But we can discuss this some other time at a longer period. I know it's Friday. And guess who we have waiting in studio here with us? Let me see if we do have, I think we do have, yeah, let's see here now. Yeah, we do have Red Fox. Red Fox, good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Are
sir.
we
Good
hearing you?
evening. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
well, we have our, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. We have our attorney, Shellon Washington. She said she listened to some of your songs. She's also a pastor. She's a lawyer. So we're going to boogie down this evening. You guys say
All
hello to
right.
each other. You never.
All right, Miss
Hi, Red
Washington,
Fox.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Give thanks.
It's nice meeting you.
You
Yeah,
know,
man, same here.
quickly before the lawyer goes, Miss Washington, um, sing something for her, but boogie down. Sort of remind her about some of your songs. Quickly, start off right away with that. Give her something
You mean
before she goes.
she want which one you want here? I don't know which Red Fox you know. Boogie Down is my first song still, so I'm not sure if she know it, but depends on her age at that point.
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
give her a little taste of it then.
Come boogie down, come boogie down, yeah. Come boogie down, come boogie. Because I stand up, and I no sit down, me sit down. Round me back a yard, and me and my Joan Plum. Calling that in the thing, says she soon come. At the same time, me said the little girl around. She must see, the man for fool. Big dumb dumb, like I have some lyrics from me to one.
Easy,
But
you're right. So you're gonna make her go to church tomorrow and say to her congregation, "Come boogie down, come boogie down." Yep, come boogie down. All right.
All right.
Red Fox is here with us, Miss Washington. Thank you.
yeah,
All right. Again.
Miss Washington look like should I know more like pose off in a your pom pom shots. Make them and them know say you look like a that should I know,
Absolutely, Miss
Yeah.
Washington. Thank you so much. So you see your serenade tonight. We do
All
all of
right.
this at
Thank you, Mark. It was a
107.1 FM.
pleasure.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Good night. Good night to you guys.
Bless up.
Thank you so much. All right, Red Fox, let's get straight on into business. Good to see you. It's been so many years, but glad that you have been doing so many wonderful things over those years. How have you been,
Give
sir?
thanks. I've been up full enough, giving thanks, giving God all the praise and all the glory because we are here with life, good health. You know what I mean? Everything is good when I have nothing to complain about.
Absolutely, nothing to complain about for all of our listeners. I know a lot of them do know you. They know your song. They know almost. They have been following you. I'll say that a lot of people do love and appreciate this particular.
Girls, you look so sharp. Anytime you pass in the boom boom shot.
It's true. What's the just grace about? Tell her again.
Girl, you touch my heart. Anytime you pass in your boom boom shot.
Happen.
All
Can
right,
you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you now. That there is pose off. But before we get into all of that, give us a little background about Red Fox and how you got the name Red Fox and so forth as a youngster growing up. Talk to us.
Yeah, well, you see the name Red Fox now, I would have said there is a mixture of what I call colorism, right? Where I grew up in Jamaica and being like the lightest skin complexion in my community. So, are you there?
Yes, yes, listening to you loud and clear. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, man. So in Jamaica, when you have this type of complexion, you're a red man, you're a brown man, you're a yellow man, you're all kind of man, right? So the name Red was always sticking out there. And then because of my afro, I guess, it red, you know what I mean? So them tell me some look like a fox. But how it really come together is I was battling with a kid from another school called Jonathan Grant in Spanish Town because I went to St. Catherine High School. And we were battling in the bar by the jukebox because, in Jamaica, there was no age group where you can't go inside the bar. So we used to go in the bar and we will select an instrumental and rap over that or DJ over that or chat over that, whatever people want to call it. And then I did a battle with a guy called Punk Buster. And the guy made me DJ all of my good lyrics and save all of his for the last. And him really whacked me that time, right? Him win the battle. And I went back to his school looking for him for a reclash. And while I was walking, I heard somebody said, Red Fox. And I looked back and it was him. I don't have any idea why this man called me Red Fox up to this day because I've never seen him since.
So
So it
since
look
then
like,
you've had that name Red Fox.
yes.
Yeah, but prior to that, what have they called you? What's your real name?
Well, I had quite a few nicknames, right? I was countryman because I lived in the country, but I came from the city and I didn't like living in the country. So they used to tease me a lot and call me countryman. And then I was karate man, where I used to kick up on little boys in the community because I had to fight my way out as a red guy in the community. Then I was Soji because all kind of nickname. But I was also the name that my mother gave me, Garrett Shelton. So I used to call myself Gary Shelton, right? And after Gary Shelton, then it was Red Fox.
Absolutely. Lots of people now know you as Red Fox. It's as though you no longer Garrett Shelton at all, just Red Fox. Everyone
Yeah.
knows you as Red Fox. For me, fortunately, growing up in Guyana in the countryside, I was never called Red Fox at all. I don't. All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you give a little background in terms of growing up in Jamaica, going to school, started off singing from in school and so forth. So you migrated to the United States of America and you decided to continue in the entertainment business.
Yeah. So, right before I left Jamaica, I became like a star within my high school, right? Because we had a crew that we formed called the Arrows Posse. And that posse now consists of about probably 12 members. And we became very popular in the school where we actually had the principles and formats of really developing a star, right? Where we created logos on our khaki shirt and wrote up our names, and we had a big movement. So as soon as I graduated from St. Catherine High School, I came to Brooklyn, and that is in 1986. So I was a developing artist, right? Like entering Brooklyn. So once I reached Brooklyn, my intention was to find out where to turn as far as keep this going. So to me, it's I would say I'm destined to do what I am doing because all the stars line up for me to make it happen. I went to New Utrecht High School in Bensonhurst, and when I went to New Utrecht High School, I linked up with LP International. Most of the LP International sound system guys went to New Utrecht. And I end up doing a clash against them actually and a Guyanese sound named Magnum, right? And that's how I got into the mix, inside Brooklyn. And then out of nowhere, they were sending my, cassettes from LP International to a producer known as Peter Mackenzie. And one day they said this guy is looking for me to take me to the studio. And I went to the studio at HCNF studio in Long Island. And the first thing come out of my mouth was Come Boogie Down.
All right. So come boogie down. Give us a little taste of that. It's Friday night. People just want to shake themselves off of a little politics and a little other issues bothering them, not only in Guyana, Jamaica, but around the world. Come boogie down. Give us a little.
Yeah, well, before I get into Come Boogie Down,
Sure.
I must say some of these lyrics may sound like you're abusing women or something to the side. Because we were young kids and we DJ these things, and it was supposed to be funny, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully the audience take this as a joke.
And we
So
just apologize ahead. Some that you can bleep out, do that, but go right ahead, Red Fox.
all
Boogie
right,
down.
there you go. Come boogie down, come boogie down, yeah. Come boogie down, come boogie down because I stand up, and I no sit down, me sit down. Run me back here yonder, me and your my Joan Plum. Calling, I think the thing says she soon come. At the same time, beside the liquor girl a run. She the bossy, take man for fool. A big dumb, like a whole shoe, I'm a whole like he carrying her bottom. And if my clocks boaty in a wreck. Cha, the girl that must say check, say me want the dirty. Well, if me start cuss the girl that I got me not go done. Her front teeth favor, rice when he bun her head. Roll like the moon, her face look like the sun. Her nose hold up my favor two cannon gun. She know, we in a Brazil and a hang down. John over did that thing say you're too ass tongue. No up and the rhythm when me come to sit down. Mana, pull up my ticker man a jam magnum. They say yes no Mr. Fox, you are the champion down. Everybody in the place and never sing the boogie down. So what? Come boogie down, come boogie down, yeah. Come and that's how it go, you know.
Yeah, you got it. We got. Hey, Fox, you did say before. You did warn our listeners before that it's what we were saying, guy, and it's abuse out. Kind of like telling off a woman. And back
Right.
then it was pure fun because you had the female artists responded like Sister Carol and all of them. The other female artists, maybe not Sister, but a lot of female artists responded to you guys whenever you have something out. They responded to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So I noticed you said that the sound system in New York that you played off of on your first thing from high school was Magnum. Tell us a
Right.
little bit about Magnum sound system.
Well, he had a guy named Zami, and his brother name was, I'm not sure, but they were off Glenwood and 35th. And they were friends of my neighbors and my building, Peter and Andrew. And Peter and Andrew, after hearing me sing, they were really excited about letting Brooklyn hear about me because they thought I was one of the best things they have ever heard in their life, right? And they happened to live on the fourth floor and I live on the fifth floor. So they took me to this house where I met these Guyanese youths, Zami and as his brother. And then, I started to sing on their sound. And they say, hey, we got a clash with a sound named LP International. But it so happens that LP International are the boys that I'm going to school with. So when the clash came, I sang one song and the whole place erupted, but they didn't want to give me back the mic, right? So LP now, because they got to school with me, they saw that they weren't giving me any more opportunities. So they said, come on our sound. So the sound that I came to DJ for, I end up betraying them by going to LP and started to clash against them now. And that's how that go, you know?
Back in those days, maybe not so much now. Whenever you get a piece of that mic, because I've seen the action at Love People, Biltmore Ballroom, Hyrule, and all those places that some of our listeners may be familiar with. You have roamed all of those places. You entertain at Biltmore Ballroom, Love People. What is it? Hyrule. I know you remember Hyrule, right?
I couldn't
Right
go to
off
Love
Snyder
People.
Snyder and Flatbush Avenue.
Yes. But I couldn't go to Love People because I was too young, right?
Okay.
Because when you saw me in high room, those days I was like about 16, 17,
Yeah.
right? And Love People now was a club that they would ask for like identification. But most of the time people would pass without showing one. But because I was so small, I think it was a danger for them.
So, in other words, you snuck into Hyrule when you were still a kid. You weren't supposed to be there.
They didn't even ask for ID at them place there. Billmore, I room, there was no laws and regulations. You just walk in from you have your money.
I noticed exactly, and you did some good work there at Tyrone and Biltmore and so forth. I noticed someone is saying that you sang along guys like General GT. That name rings a bell?
Yes,
Yeah.
big time, big time. Because General GT, when I just came, as I said in Brooklyn, I went to perform. Well, they took me to this dance. This sound name, there's a guy named Juna Culture. What the name of that sound was again? I don't remember, but General GT was singing around that sound. And he's the one who, along with a guy called Smalley, that gave me the mic. That's the first place I ever performed when I came into Brooklyn, somewhere in Brooklyn there. And gunshots were fired that same night. And I just landed in America. But General GT, that's where I met him. And then after that, he was one of the leading artists around LP International.
Tell me something. You mentioned gunshots. A lot of you artists usually go out and you risk your lives and so forth, even patrons. And back in those days, love people, I'm sure you would have gone there as you got older to go in and built more. And then you had Starlight Ballroom, and then there was
Right,
in Queens there was what is called Q Club and those places. You
right.
you you're on stage. You guys are on stage and expecting gunshots anytime. What was that fear like?
So I would like to tell you that the passion drowned out the fear, right? There was a level of fear because you knew majority of the time there was going to be a shootout. But in some sense, you think this was the norm, right? You actually didn't think this was something crazy. You just know, all right, I'm inside this party, and somewhere along the line, gunshots is going to start busting off. Somebody's going to probably get killed. Whatever the case is, you already look for the exit and look where you're gonna run. And this was the norm. So within Starlight, Biltmore, and all these places, we expected it, but the passion to make it as an artist. This was your only platform. And because it was your only platform, you had to do what you had to do. And we were so young, we were fearless in some sense. But at the same time, there's that bit of concern
And the
that you
passion
can.
and the passion to live your dream.
Well, the passion completely drowned out everything because I saw nothing else.
Absolutely. And back
Yeah,
in those days, you had to rank alongside guys, and they were fresh because to grab that mic is like grabbing a piece of meat. You got to, and you got to prove yourself. You got to prove your talent because about 5, 6 of you guys, 10 of you guys at the stage, maybe let's say at Biltmore Ballroom, you had to go alongside guys like Shabba Ranks, who was now up and coming back then with Squitchy. Sorry, not Squid. Well, Squitchy Dan was with you. Then you have Little Twitch and Shabba Ranks, and you had the likes of Junior Demas, Nicodemus, and all these guys on the mic. What was
right.
it like working along with those guys in the earliest stage?
Well, for me, when I came to Brooklyn, I was like a new sensation. I was like rapidly getting around because my sound, my voice, they have never really quite heard anything like it before, especially from the frame, like me being what they would call short and little and all these things, and them hear this powerful voice. So it's like it roam around the streets, to the point where as soon as I pick up the mic and say a few words, the place would mash up before I even DJ anything. Just the sound of my voice alone. So um, I never really have a challenging time to get microphone. You know what I mean? I would always just kind of wait my turn because the people are waiting to hear me. But we're Shabba ranking now, like Liquor Twitch, Juna Demos. Now, these were superstars from Jamaica. So whenever we get the mic, it was always to prove ourselves because we always have that that thing swinging over our heads where we felt like we were what they call foreign artists, right? You live in New York, so in some sense you're not supposed to be authentic because you live in foreign land versus the man that we are come from Jamaica. So you always have to be like really on top of your game to be accepted. And we felt like we had to prove ourselves. So if I know Shabba ranking is there, I'm going to go 20 times harder. And matter of fact, I'm trying to outdo him as well. My thing is to crush them for the night. So that tomorrow you can say, well, hey, no matter where you live, Jamaica or foreign, we can get the job done.
Absolutely. You guys got a lot of jobs done back then. There was a lot of inter-school competition, like you said, because they had your school, then they had the other boys and girls. They had lots of other schools there, Erasmus, where Busta Rhymes came from, Special
Yeah.
Ed, and these other guys. I know Busta Rhymes being Jamaican and Busta Rhymes, a Flatbush massive, so to speak, right off of Flatbush and Regent. You know those areas. You've roamed Flatbush Avenue. Tell us a little bit. I know you probably would have encountered Busta Rhymes back in the days. Your take on Busta?
Well, the funny thing that you mentioned Busta Rhymes, because Busta Rhymes saw me about 3 years ago. And he looked at me and he said, I wanted to be you and I wanted to be Screechy. And I took both of you and made Busta Rhymes. That's what
Interesting.
he's that's what
Interesting.
he's yeah. And I remember him coming to me at Tilden Ballroom to say that we were cousins. But in truth, his stepfather and my stepfather was best friends.
Wait, Scritchy. I mean, that's Red
Yeah, yeah,
Fox. You
yeah.
sounding like a guy in his day. Wait a minute. His stepfather and my father and my. But go
My
on. Tell
step
us the story
yeah,
about
yeah,
this relationship.
yeah. His stepfather and my stepfather was best friends. So, you know, he used to come wherever I'm performing and he will tell me that, we are relative and stuff like that. And then it was a short period of time now where I saw that he was a part of Leaders of the New School because I knew him as Trevor J first, right? That was his name. And then he became Busta Rhymes. And then when we were signed to the same label, which is Electra Records, right? Warner Brothers. And then when he left the group, Leaders of a New School, he told me that he was leaving and he wanted me to be a part of Flipmore Squad. And he called me one night to come to the studio, but I didn't go, right? I don't even remember. Probably even my wife that I'm with now, me I cool out with her and things are sweet me, I'm in a mother move. But, that's all I can remember as far as like trying to be, him wanted me to be a part of Flipmore. But we are friends when we see each other, we talk and everything. But at the same time, there's a sound that him have, and a part of that sound comes from me.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that Busta Rhymes actually said that because back in the days, roaming Flatbush Avenue and so forth, Busta Rhymes was part of that crew. I haven't seen Busta Rhymes in many, many years, and just like I haven't seen you in so many years as well in person.
Same,
I'm not
same.
even sure, but all of the faces coming back together, the hanging out and so forth and so on. But Busta's talent is indeed overblown, and I'm glad that you guys are still in touch. But there's another artist, and we all know. Let me see if you remember this guy here,
Special
Erasmus
Ed, yes. Yeah,
Special Ed.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
when he first blew out with "I Got It Made,"
Right.
and he got the first label, he was signed and so forth. Your take on Special Ed, another Jamaican.
Yeah, so when Special Ed was doing his thing, I just really arrived in America. That is about probably 87, right?
Yeah,
When we start hearing about Special Ed. And when I heard that, he's from Flatbush section, Brooklyn section, these were inspiration.
he was actually
That
from Church Avenue, right between Nostrand and Rogers there.
right.
Yeah,
And I know his sister as well,
good.
right? And it's like these are inspiration because when even though I've never really quite met Special Ed, we know of each other, but just the fact that he comes from around the way, it gives us this feeling that we can do it. So when you saw him out there, doing the videos, and especially sometime I saw him appear in the Bill Cosby show, all these different things kind of uplift us.
Got you. Upliftment indeed.
Yeah.
If you're now joining us, we have with us this evening Red Fox, legendary reggae artist Red Fox. You can't miss him. Lots of people are reminiscing. They know about you. They love your songs and so forth. I noticed earlier someone said that you sung a little bit like Shaggy. There you are with Shaggy, Rayvon, and
Yeah.
Shaggy. What's going on with Shaggy?
Well, first and foremost, let me educate the person that thinks that I sound like him. He sounds like me. I brought him out, and we must make that record clear.
Isn't Shaggy your
Because
cousin?
no, we're not cousins.
Not related.
Shaggy is someone that, while he was in the military, I was helping him to like get into the industry, right? As far as like all the places I was performing, I will take Shaggy with me because he was getting ready to go to the first Kuwait War. So
That's the Desert Storm in 1992.
yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
So when I met him, it's before the war, and Shaggy is the type of person that whatever I need to do to get somewhere, he will confront you and ask you for help, right? So he came to me and I began to take him around and all the shows that I was performing. But I was also working with a producer called Sting International. And I took him to Sting International. And Sting International is who produced all the massive hits that he has put out. From Bombastic, Oh Carolina, It Was Me, Angel, you name it, is Sting International produced them, right? But as I said before, even though he is older than I was the one that was somewhat teaching him about the business and introducing him to all the right people. But when you hang out with a person for a while, them adapt things. So I'm not gonna say what that a lot of people say. 'Cause a lot of people will go out there and say he stole my style and he stole my voice. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that he adapted some of my sound because we are hanging out together. And if he's looking up to me as the person that at the time I had like Come Boogie Down in Jamaica, Jamaica Nice, that song. Like Jamaica Nice, Jamaica Nice, Jamaica Nice, I say Jesus Christ, and then I had a few hits out. So, a person looking up to you and singing around you, eventually him adapt something. But, because he's more like on the pop market and what more globally known, people will say that I sound like him. It's something that I have to live with.
Absolutely, because you were around
Yes,
longer than Shaggy. Shaggy left.
right,
He went off to the Kuwait, the first Desert Storm War in 1992.
right,
Right after a year or so after Erasmus Hall High School, and
right.
that Shaggy for you guys. Shaggy, another friend of mine. I haven't seen him in many years. All these superstar friends that I have, I'm the only one who's not a superstar.
You're a superstar. You're a mega superstar.
Red Fox, Red Fox.
Yeah.
Let's and Rayvon. I haven't heard. I haven't. The last time I saw Rayvon was when he was in Guyana many years ago. Outside of that, I haven't seen or heard from him. What is he up to?
Well, Raven and I did Bashman Party, right? That's probably one of my biggest dancehall song up to date. And I cannot say that I've been in touch with him due to differences. You know,
Gotcha.
yeah, but I know they're out there doing their thing. You know, we do have quite a few songs that we did together. Like Blaze Like Fire, Bashman Party. There's quite a few that we did together, that did very well. But I haven't seen him. I cannot tell you that I've seen him in a while.
Respect. Right. Hope all of those guys are doing well. Shaggy, Rayvon, and the whole crew. I know you started off a lot of songs when you were singing back in the days, sharing the mic with Screechy Dan. I
Yes.
haven't heard much. I remember Squitchy Dan and yourself, good team, good duet. What has happened to Squitchy?
Well, Screechy is alive and kicking, you know. Screechy is so gifted, he's so talented that he's always doing all type of music. Right now he has a lot of roots rock reggae songs that he's putting out. We just came back from Chile, right? We did a show in Chile like about probably 3 weeks ago. Over the summer, we did a lot of park shows from Y. Wilkins Park to Wingate Park to Central Park. We did quite a few shows together over the summer, and we're still brothers and we're still in touch a lot. But he's very
Gotcha.
gifted, very talented.
Give my regards to Screechy. I know you guys were in Chile like you said, about 3 weeks ago. I noticed there's someone, Christopher Chichester, known as Oren Ranks. Seem to know a lot about all of you guys, from Wingate to your high school to Erasmus. Christopher Chichester, Oren Ranks. I just want to say good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, man, big up.
Yeah. All right. So give our audience a little something as we look to wind down on tonight's program. Give them a little something. Sing anything for them. But remember, we're on radio. But go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, we have a thing. Man better than the whole of them. This is our new one. Man better than the whole of them. Man better than the whole of them. Another one DJ hit the road again. Make it DJ your chatty song. Make it girl them a rocky song. Have the business locking up. Everywhere we got the whole place packing up. DJ upon a roll. Everything else just get cool. I me still love me soul. Shout it out. Brave and bold. What? Man better than the whole of them. Man better than the whole of them. You gotta check that one out tonight and go on wicked a road,
You definitely have to. Man better than the whole of them. This reminds me how far we came from. And in those clubs there was sit down on the rhythm and sit down steady. Things have really gotten really upbeat like.
Yeah.
What is your take on some people who might say these days, current time, dancehall is too much slackness and sexuality and these sort of things? What is your take on the condemnation of that aspect? And also too much warring gunplay in the lyrics and so forth. Do you see the difference between when you started off and on the 17th of November, you will be celebrating 35 years in the business?
Yeah, man.
Has things changed in terms of the slackness, dancehall slackness and gun lyrics? Your take, sir.
Well, everything have to evolve, right? First and foremost. And I will say that, yes, the youths are more blunt in how they express themselves. We would have put in a little more art into how we talk about certain topics back in the days, right? There was always slackness. There was never a time when there's no slackness, right? Because everybody know sex sells, right? So from General Echo to Yellow Man to Shabba Ranks coming up, we are, including myself, we all said some stuff when it came to the ladies. And every now and then we will have songs that we talk about where we talk about street life, right? So we always express ourselves in aggressive ways. So we're not gonna judge the youths and say, well, they're doing some crazy things these days. They're just pretty much children of us. We said it in a particular way and they took it to another level. Now, instead of we judging them and criticizing them, what we need to do is guide them, right? Because they do need guidance, because they're only saying what they're seeing. If we look at the crime in Jamaica, it's at a all-time high, right? And I'm sure Trinidad likewise. I'm not sure about Guyana, but I've heard about all these islands. The crime step up. Now we have to understand, so the artists are reporters of the street. They only DJ what them see, right? Or what they're influenced by. They're not just getting up and just gonna sing a song about this and that. It's what they're seeing every day and what they're talking about. They are their environment, right? So we as the elder artists them now need to get over like your days when you were the superstar. Because sometimes the man them who used to be a superstar in the 80s era or in the 90s era can't get over that. So when the youth them start get their shine, instead of them go behind the youth them and give them some guidance, they're busy criticizing because they feel like they're losing their fame, right? And they're losing their spotlight. So sometimes some of these people when they talk, it's not even about the youth, it's just about themselves. Because me as a father of three sons, I know every day I have to get up and pass wisdom down to them. All the things that I've learned, all the mistakes that I've made, I try to correct it through them. So therefore, all we have to look at it is, yes, things are vulgar and things are, it seems like it's out of hand, but at the same time, we can't really judge them. We have to find a way to do better as far as guiding them. That's how I
Respect.
look at it.
Absolutely, and I agree with you 100% with that because when we look at, I recall our days or at those clubs in Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan and so forth. We have never seen this type.
How do you get
Go,
the how?
go ahead,
Huh?
Fox. You were saying something while the video was running, but go ahead. Sorry about that, Red Fox.
Ah
Go
ah
ahead.
ah ah ah. Are you
Go ahead.
showing me spice?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. And the sheet, on the sheet, and the demonstration on the stage. Too much
Yes.
vulgarity, you think?
Well, should I do not new whenever been done before? There is always vulgarity, right? And there's you don't have to go there, you know. There's other artists that is doing clean songs, conscious songs, and nobody now go. But everybody's pointing their fingers on the one that they see where they will say that is negative or whatever. There's dance for everybody. All kind of people come and dance. Even if you remember that old time song. So you don't have to go there so and look on it if you don't want to look on it. There's other people over there saying conscious things, but nobody talking about them. Why nobody is not talking about the people that is doing conscious clean work? Why they're only focusing on the ones that they say, well, it's negative and vulgar and all these things. Social media brings like about 5,000, 10,000 TV in your face one time. So you're seeing everything now. But in truth, it's always been there. But because you have so much reporters now, every man is a reporter. Every man have a TV name on. But they don't want to capture anything that is conscious and put it out there because guess what? That don't get no likes and that don't get no views. So we're living in a world of views and likes. So people only are sure the things them where are gonna get attention. Everybody looking for entertainment, you know. But if I
Absolutely.
should say so, yeah, if I should
Sure. Go
say
ahead.
something still, I want to say something. And I want to talk to the women in dancehall because you always have vulgarity. But it gone to another level now where it's like they're making sex or their bodies or whatever become too like it too it too common out there where you can just see it. You don't see it everywhere now to the point where man coming like them don't even enticed by it no more. The man just a look and just a pass it now because it just out there. Once upon a time the woman them tuck it in a little more and cover it up a little more and then they make you more curious for so I go on. No man don't ever curious. Cause you have strips, you come like you have strip show a road instead of you have to go to strip club again. So I just said to the woman then, it makes a man more enticed when you kinda leave a little bit to the imagination. You know what I mean? So me that say to the woman them, try leave a little bit to the man them imagination and don't feel like because you're in a music field where it's challenging and you're going to try to be as outrageous as you possibly can so you can get attention. Try to focus on delivering some songs that make female uplift themselves. You know what I mean? And then dress yourself sexy, but don't you know have to show it too much because
Tuck it in.
tuck it a little bit
Tuck,
tight,
tuck,
man. You know
tuck
what I
it in.
mean?
Because
Yeah,
back in
man.
the days, I got you with the tuck it in. Maybe, tuck it in indeed. But
Yeah.
back in the days, they were Lady Patra. Lady Patra didn't, she exposed, she didn't tuck it in. She said Patra, and she pat whatever she had to pat, Patra. And you had Lady Saw and so forth. They're no different from Spice now, right?
Nah, man. Nah, and you know, Spice is a very talented DJ. It's one of the best DJ female, like, of all time. One of the best. I mean, when it comes to delivery, when it comes to strength of vocals, when it comes to like, she's DJ almost like a man. Saying? So, may have nothing but respect and love for her. But I understand the fight where she have at the same time. She's a African, you know, with deep melanin. And those women normally have to fight like really hard sometimes for really like staying at the pop market. The market where really like heavy streaming and you know, so me know say it not easy for her when she go out there. And she might try something extra more time for really like keep her thing going on. You know what I mean? So can't judge her because you don't know the struggle where she have face. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
I
'cause
agree with you 100%. You can't judge her or the others, including Skeng, because Skeng is singing nothing different than Super Cat and Bounty Killer and those other guys back in the days. Huh? You're laughing.
right. Yeah, you know, yeah, because you are going now, you see, because the street gets so hot and so much murders are going. So when them hear the gunman song them now, them are register now. Back in the days when Super Cat and Ninja Man are do it, you know, you don't have a lot of the crime wasn't so heavy like now. But now people are kill people in a broad daylight. People are sure bombing at your house and burn down your house with you in night. You get up in the morning and you hear say 5 man dead last night, 10 man dead last night. So when you hear a gunman show now, it kind of like loud in your head. Back in the days, you know, Ninja Man and Super Cat and them, it's just like, yeah, you're some bad man tune, but you just want to look a bad man profile for the moment. But now people get nervous when they hear it. So that's why it becomes like in neon colors now. It's not no difference, it's just the time.
Times have changed indeed, and we are looking at our time here now. Buju Banton is back out on the road. Back in, you started before Buju Banton out in Brooklyn there.
Yeah.
Buju, I recall doing an interview with Buju many years ago when he first came out with his first tune, his first hot tune. What is Buju Banton up to, and are you guys in touch, or have you visited his studio anytime soon since he came out?
I haven't spoken to Buju since he came out. Um, you know, but Buju and I go back some years because, you know, when I started out, like songs like Born Again, Black Man, no longer brainwash, black to the max, and well proud of that. I mean, though, them a murderer, no for them a gangster. When I'm singing those revolutionary tunes, Buju Banton, them were very attracted to those songs. You know what I mean? So when I met him on those kind of levels where he was talking to me about the consciousness I was bringing to the table. You know what I mean? And we did a tour in France at the time together. You know what I mean? So that's when we really connected. You know, but I really haven't seen him in many years. Even before he got incarcerated, I didn't really get a chance to see him in a while because I haven't been so frequent in Jamaica like I used to because of my youths. Saying I've been really there was a particular time when I just straight my youths them I deal with. Because you know, me have some young youth, 3 young youth back to back to back. So I had to put in some father duty.
Absolutely, back to back to back. So indeed, before we go, and I applaud you for that in terms of being a good father. I see your kids. Congratulations. A lot of our men folk should be exactly the same way. Um, some of your lyrics, you think it has a political message to it, social message? Or what is the
Yeah,
message in your songs?
yeah, man. I mean, from an early age, as we said, them a murderer, talking about political gangsters. Born again black man, no longer brainwash, black to the max, and well proud of that. Those songs. I have tons of them, I'm trying to remember quite a few, but I was always an artist that like to think about, what is going on. Even though I have a show named Pre-Life on my Instagram, that I do. I used to do it every Wednesday, but I every now and then now I come and I talk about a social issue that's going on globally or something that I can uplift. If I figure out something in a life, I write some bars about it and deliver it. So, people when they go to my Instagram at original Red Fox, they can see a lot of content there about issues that's taking place in the world.
So you said your Instagram is at original Red Fox.
Yes, sir.
Your original Red Fox. It's right there on the screen for you guys to see. Original Red Fox. Check Red
At
Fox
original
out
Red
over
Fox.
at
Yeah,
original
and
Red
if
Fox. Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
and to make things easy on everybody, they can go to originalredfox.com and then now they will see the link to all of my social medias and also the link to stream my music, Spotify, iTunes, etc. You know what
And
I mean?
I
It's a website that is, huh?
sorry, and I suppose that if we have a lot of maybe um, individuals out there who may want to book you and so forth, they can get all that information on originalredfox.com.
Well, once they go to originalredfox.com, they have the link to my social medias, right? And also, all of the social like digital platforms where my music
Yes.
is. But if they want to book shows and stuff like that, then they can always direct message me from there and then I'll put them on to who they need to speak to.
Absolutely. Red Fox, before we go, we thank you so much for your time, though. I got just two other questions for you. What do you do on your private time, your family, and so forth? What are some of the things you like doing when you're not singing?
The number one thing is cooking. And I just, well, the season is winding down now because me live over this side of town here. But I love to farm. I have my garden, and my garden mean everything to me, right? So cooking and farming, and also I love to exercise. So you'll find me cycling a lot and running and weight training and stuff like that. I'm into all of that meditation and them kind of thing. But cooking, farming, cycling.
Absolutely. Cooking, farming, indeed. I hope, Fox, I hope you got some of them Balis back in the days. Red Balis, yellow Balis, pink Balis, green Balis. Balis days. You still have your
Yeah.
Balis and your silk shirts?
No, somebody the other day linked me on my Instagram to send me some travel foxes, right? I
Travel
found that
Fox.
very
Yeah.
interesting because the person, I guess they work with travel fox, so they make a link to me, because I used to wear a lot of them. I remember I only had one red travel fox one time when things was rough, and a girl tell me about my one shoes when I have when I try to talk to her. But you understand to slide that in there, but
She wasn't,
I
it
mean,
wasn't a guy, it wasn't a Guyanese girl.
no, she was an American girl, I think she have Asian parents or
Ancestor.
something like
Okay.
that. But yeah, she spoke about my one red travel fox, because
One red
it is,
Travel Fox.
we have a shoes and it have a loud color. Everywhere you go, everybody know it, like a black shoes, where you're not sure how shoes
I got to remind me of my green Balis. Anyways,
Yeah,
Red Fox, I know you said earlier, them have to tuck it in. And a lot of our listeners are going to leave tonight with them have to tuck it in. Too much
Tuck it
out.
in.
Tuck
Yeah,
it
them
in.
have tuck it in, man.
Tuck it in.
Them not show too much because it's like when you go strip club. When I go to strip, when I used to go to strip club, I wish my wife there. When I used to go to strip club, it's
Oops.
like
Yeah.
it's like when a woman take off everything. You're no longer in suspense. You're no longer imagining everything just dead and out. So you kind of look to the other one where no really show it yet. So a woman have to kind of know, so well, you have to leave something for the man imagine.
Yeah.
But when you just when you expose the whole of the value, it no value no more.
It's getting a
So
little
you know,
hot in. It's getting a little hot in here, indeed. Tuck it in, take all off, pose
yeah,
off,
man.
and so pum pum shots back in the days, Flatbush Avenue, Church Avenue, all over. Girls then were walking with their pum pum shots. Is that where you
Yes.
got the vision to come out with pum pum shots? Let's hear you. Pum pum shots. Give us a little hit too.
You know, sir, it was Eastern Parkway Labor Day when we set up a sound system named Vital by President and Rogers, right? So, and Screechy Dan was on the microphone, and some girls were passing in their carnival outfit, and Screechy started to sing, "Girls, they look so sharp. Anytime them passing at them pum pum shots." But he was just joking around, right? But I
Mm.
didn't even pay attention to it. So when I go back to Paula Rossi now, Paula Rossi is the tour manager for Shaggy now. When I went to his house, he had a sound system named Gibraltar, and Gibraltar Rock, and he was playing the cassette back, and I heard Screechy joking around. So when I hear it, I said, but this can be a big song. So same time in my head, I go pose off, your pum pum shots. So I saw Screechy Dan at Billmore Ballroom when Addis was clashing against LP International. And I said, yo, you remember that little thing where you sing? Hear this. I will go to studio and Sting International, record the song, and the rest was history.
All right, let's get a piece of that song as we prepare to exit out tonight.
Yeah, you
Red.
go. Girls, they look so sharp. Anytime them passing at them pum pum shots. Pose off, your pum pum shots. Make them on them know so you sharp pose off. Your pum pum shots. Make them on them know so you sharp. Watch the girl in them pum pum shots. The young Jack come and just can't pass. But it's so big it a broke your eyeglass. Let me give them another one. Well, we're having a bashment party. People can't you feel the hype? We're in Gucci and the money. Feeling rich like Wesley Snipes. I say, bashment girl, whatever tell me if I'm ready. And if you know you're ready, cock it up and spread it, girl. In the ear, and you go, down in Jamaica. I want to put them still. You know, just like I run through them still. You know, I go.
Holy for them indeed. Back in those days, you guys were on top of the charts because you had to clash with, especially when the clubs, you had to clash with Duck Dance, with Admiral Bailey, and those songs. And now those were hot tunes back in the days.
Yeah,
And
man.
then
Yeah,
you guys
man.
came and wipe it off with Pum Pum Shots and all these different things. Pose off. Look, Red Fox, it's always a pleasure chatting with you. Don't be a stranger. We got to meet up. It's been a long time. We got to meet up soon and probably have some nice Jamaican food or Guyanese food. And
Yeah, man. You know, so I used to go with a Guyanese girl for 6 years, you know.
I know the whole story. And I know the whole story. I know the
Yeah,
whole
man.
story, Red Fox. How is she doing?
Listen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I know the whole story.
But we used to the Guyanese food and all them thing there,
What's your favorite Guyanese dish, Red Fox?
You know what say? The mother used to
What should give you
the
egg
mother
and rice?
the mother had this soup. I mean, they really like a cook up. I wait name cook up.
Yeah, cook up, cook up.
Yeah. I think I said the name, man. They like that's up there. Yeah.
Cook up. Cook
Yeah,
up.
but they couldn't get me to eat the black pudding. I just couldn't do it.
Oh, you gotta eat the black pudding, white pudding, and sauce and all these other things, man.
Sauce and them thing there, yeah, but
Yeah.
we couldn't do the black pudding. We couldn't do it.
Respect. You gotta team up with a Guyanese and do a nice Guyanese something for us too, man. You gotta
Sure.
expand into Guyana and so forth. But Red Fox, always a pleasure. Lots of people, scores of people around Guyana, around the world, around Brooklyn, wherever. They're watching you, listening to you for the past hour. Here's your closing remarks to all of those people watching.
Yes, I want to say, to everyone, first thing first, right? Your health. Without good health, you can't enjoy nothing at all. So make sure that you focus on your food intake, right? Then also make sure that you focus on your mental health. Don't take on too much for your brain. Take some time for yourself to just unwind and listen to yourself breathe. Don't get distracted, right? Because if you get distracted, you're no longer focused, right? Have a mission, have a goal, set some short-term one, high goals, high, no matter how high them is, set them very high and just focus on it, you know what I mean? And that's what I say, up full more than a cup full, make it spill.
Up full more than a cup full. When you walk in, tuck it in, don't make it. Sorry. Tuck it in. Respect, man, all the time.
Yeah, man, big up Mr. Ben Shop. See,
Yeah.
up full.
Yeah, man. All right, Red Fox there for you guys. Wonderful hour entertaining aspect. Little of the politics. You heard Red Fox there and his cook up and these sort of things, and they tuck it in a little. It's Friday night. All right, good. Let me tuck my smile back in, right? A naughty smile indeed. And to all of you who have tuned in Guyana, around wherever you are, thank you so much. It's a little bit of the light side. Let me say good evening to the folks out at Long Island Nursing Home. Ian Bino, my favorite political guy here, Ian Bino. How are you guys doing? Desiree Simon, good evening. To Desiree as well. Paulette Greaves, good evening. Brenda Braithwaite. Bantu King say, hey, a welcoming change of pace, Mr. Bencham. Sonia Rigby. I know Sonia would have been here for Pose Off, right? Sonia appears to be from the Pose Off generation, because back in those days they had Pose Off, then they had who else? The song with the other singers there, man. They were popular tunes back then. We see Diana Badin and everybody's just here tonight, right? All right, Ingrid Carter and the entire crew. If I don't call your name, don't get upset. Lynette Nelson, and we have Samantha Boyce, Denise Manderson, Tessa, and then we have Oren, Christopher Chichester. All of you guys, thank you so much for tuning in this evening. I'll be back on Monday, same place, same time, right here. I'm talking about Playas and Shakadimas, right? Yeah, Playas and Shakadimas. When those songs came on in a dance, if you bake in pone, well, something is definitely wrong with you. But I can tell you guys this, I never in my life bake pone. Never. Can't bake pone. Love you guys. I gotta go. Until tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, until Monday, same place, same time. God bless you all. Have a great weekend and be safe. God bless.
Girls, you look so sharp. Anytime you pass in the Pom Pom Shot. It's true.
What's the just grace about? Tell her again.
Girl, you touch my heart. Anytime you pass in your Pom Pom Shot.
And y'all them wide out.
Run things, rude boy.
Pose off, yeah, your pom pom shots. Make them man then know, so you saw pose off, yeah, your pom pom shots.
Hello, this is attorney Shellon, Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
I'm in the mood. I'm feeling rude. I'm feeling hot. I want to run. The feeling exciting. So darling, let's do something. I wanna rub my body on your body. Rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. Rub my body on your body. Rub my body. Rub my body on your body. I just get paid. I want to play. The vibes is right. I wanna hook up tight. No time to waste. I wanna work my face. So come on, babes. Give me a taste. I wanna rub my body on your body. Rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub yourself. I wanna rub jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Well, no. I'm feeling, 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 I'm feeling.